Good morning, everyone. This is very unusual for me because we're starting on time, right on 10 o'clock. It's really so good to see so many of you here. A lot of familiar names and faces, but also a huge number of names and faces that I'm certainly not familiar with. And I'm really excited to learn who you are, what you do, and where mapping fits in your different worlds. So in case you're not sure who I am, I'm Liam. I'm the founder of Biggerplate. And I'm going to try and get us off to a fairly quick start. My colleague John is going to hold up some cards and tell me if I'm going over time. And we've got a lot to get through today, so hopefully it means we can keep to time, get a good balance of speakers and perspectives, and you'll all have a good day. If anyone's doing anything on Twitter today about this event, good or bad, please use the hashtag up on the screen today, just so we can try and expand the conversation beyond the room today. So I'm going to try and kick us off by just covering a few simple things, and I hope people won't mind if I walk about a bit because it's quite a long room. I'm going to look at 4 quick things, and I'm going to dive right in there and just try and give us a little bit of context of what we Biggerplate are here for, some of the things we're doing, and also give you a sense of how we've come to create this event today and why it's structured the way it is. So the first thing I want to talk about is what I sort of refer to as arena to industry. And this is really an idea that we have been talking about at Biggerplate for a while, around whether we can or should look to transition, if you like, from something that's probably called quite often a mind mapping arena to something that could justifiably be called a mind mapping industry. So this is an idea. I don't have any answers. I just want to put it out to you guys, and maybe we can talk about it a bit today and see if you agree, disagree, or anything in between. At the moment, I think we're in a mind mapping arena, and if you look on Twitter, a lot of people use the term mind mapping arena. And I think there's a few issues with that as a label, but also as a state of affairs for mind mapping. Firstly, I think we're actually a little bit misunderstood. I think there are a lot of people who don't really still understand what mind mapping is. There's a lot of people who I think have some quite out-of-date ideas of what mind mapping is. And they also have no idea of how mind mapping might be used to help them, whether they're in business, in government, and education. As a result of that, I think we still are a bit under the radar. You know, even in big companies that have bought lots of software, it's still quite often only used by little small clusters, and some of you in this room might be part of those small clusters in big organizations. So what I'm interested in is whether we can get to a point where we could be here in a couple of years' time and say we are now part of a mind mapping industry, whether that's software or app development, training or consultancy, events, add-ins, all of these different things. So I think an industry, in my view, would be something that actually is recognized as such. People within it would recognize that we're now part of a mind mapping industry. And there would be multiple layers within an industry and multiple ways for people to make commercial opportunities come to life within the mind mapping industry. I think once we get to that stage, hopefully we'll also be a bit better understood. People would understand what mind mapping is, when it can be used, what solutions it can help with, and where the service and product providers within the mind mapping industry can help them. And I think that's when we then start to see the mind mapping industry, and particularly those of us who do provide products and services, hopefully becoming very in-demand people. Equally, we'll also hopefully see that people within organizations who are using mind mapping will become very in-demand people. I think the people who have mind mapping skills and know how to use this stuff and are using it well should be recognized as very valuable people. It's an extremely valuable tool set for people to use in a number of situations. So my hope is that mind mappers will get to a stage where we really are in demand, and events like this I think are very positive in terms of how many people are here today. So that's just, as I say, a thought to get us started really. And as I say, I don't have the answers, but I'm hoping some of you might. I want to also share with you just a little bit of feedback, and the feedback is on 2 fronts. One is the feedback that we've had from the first 2 Biggerplate Unplugged events, which we ran in London in January and Paris in March. So I want to share with you some of the takeaways that we had from that, from the people who participated, and just give you a sense of how that's shaped the event that you're part of today. The The first thing is, people said to us, we'd like to have more opportunities to discuss with the other people in the room the ideas that we're talking about. And we were a little bit pushed for time, and we had a few too many presenters in London. In Paris, we went a bit too far the other way, and there's a couple of people, Xavier and a couple of others who were in Paris, who would probably, and Philippe would probably say, actually, the discussion was too broad. There wasn't enough structure to it, and as a result, we maybe didn't get to some sort of outputs and some group ideas. So we're trying to shape today with that in mind, and we've built in 2 World Cafe sessions, and you'll see how you're set out in tables. It's really to try and encourage and enable you to have discussions amongst yourselves. We don't think the whole thing has to be geared around what the people at the front are saying. If you want to go off on a tangent, something else, please go, feel free. There's also more opportunities, hopefully today, if we can stick to time and stick to what we planned, for networking. I personally don't like the word networking. I get scared if I see an event that says networking drinks and these sort of things. What it really means is you often know people from Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and this is a very unique opportunity to actually get to meet them in person and hopefully build some proper relationships. So that's all we're trying to do there. There was also an interesting piece of feedback which surprised us, but it was a pleasant surprise, and that was that people wanted to maybe explore a little bit where mind mapping fits in the context of a broader visual thinking and visual working arena. The rise of things like infographics, graphic facilitation, all of these things, how does that relate to mind mapping? Can mind mapping, if we are going to try and make an industry, how can we learn from what they're doing? Why have infographics suddenly gone like this? What's the trends that we can plug into and learn from? So hopefully we've got you a little bit of a visual arena perspective with my friend Saskia down here, who's going to talk more broadly about visual workers as opposed to just mind mappers. So no pressure, Saskia. The final is some more general feedback, and this is the stuff that I'm kind of excited to share with you today. We thought it'd be kind of fun if we could come here and say, here's something cool and new. For your eyes, for the very first time, here's something we've done. So what I'm about to sort of show you is completely new, live on the site today, and we think it's kind of cool. But more importantly, it's a direct response to feedback we have had from our community. And there's 2 key points we've had. One is visibility for small businesses, whether it's individual consultants, small businesses doing training or consultancy, or even some of the software companies. Getting visibility for the products and services we provide is difficult. And Biggerplate now is in quite a nice position that we have a pretty busy web platform. And we are really seeing that increase nicely and continuing to do so. So we've tried to solve one of the issues, which is visibility and marketing for other small businesses. Biggerplate is a very small business for anyone who's unclear about that. My colleague Graham there and myself, we make up 50% of Biggerplate. Okay? So I'm sure there are lots of other small businesses in the room. So we're very much on your side and of your mindset. The second one we had lots of questions about was hand-drawn mind maps. Why can't I put my hand-drawn mind maps on biggerplate.com? From day one, people are asking this question, and we haven't really ever had a very good answer for it. We think we might have an answer for it now. So I'm going to go straight in, and this is where things could go terribly wrong. I'm going to show you, rather than try and do a live web demo, which is particularly dangerous, considering this only went live last night, I'm going to show you a very quick video that I scrapped together last night in my hotel room, showing you the very new Mind Map Trainer directory. Can I just ask you, as a show of hands, how many of you in here provide mind map training of some sort? Excellent. That's amazing. That's way more than I thought. So this is really good. For those of you who don't, I hope this will still be of interest and relevance. And for the rest of you, that's brilliant. So this idea of visibility for small businesses is really important, and really important to us. So what we have done is create on Biggerplate a new section that, as I say, went live last night, which is a trainer directory, which is going to be housed under the learning section of the site. So it's going to be very visible. This is live on the site now. You can go and have a look at this, but I've just captured a couple of quick images, if you like, to just show you how it's going to work. All of the information you see on the trainer directory can be edited and changed, so you can really personalize and brand it. And when you arrive at an event, a trainer profile, you've got this nice big image area where you can put anything you like. Images of yourself training, logos, real branded stuff to give yourself some great visibility. Location, so people can find where you are, and if they're looking for a Utrecht-based trainer, they can find you. We also wanted to build in an area for you to put your languages and specialties, particularly relevant for you Dutch people who speak 1,000 languages better than anyone. Perhaps what I think is a really important point is, down the bottom here is an email inquiry form. What that means is, people will be able to send you a training inquiry direct from Biggerplate. I think that's really important. It takes one step out of the process for them to contact you and say, can you help me with this problem? We think that's going to be really cool. It's also going to mean it's very measurable. So you'll be able to see over the course of a year, how many of these inquiries did I get? How am I doing on time, John?
We are 10 minutes.
10 minutes, that's okay. So I want to just show you the same profile, but from the perspective of the person who owns it. So potentially some of you in this room who would create one. As I said, everything you see can be edited and changed and personalized. So we can click in here. I'm sorry if you can't quite read the text. We can create very quickly changes in how it appears. So the other thing that I think small businesses struggle with is, very rarely is your business the same 1 year on. Things change very, very quickly. You might come up with a new angle for your business, a new product or service that you want to promote. So quickly we can change, edit and adapt the text in here, the images behind. So hopefully you can create some really, really nice branded areas for your business. Essentially, we want you to view these as mini websites. The advantage of using our platform, if you like, to host some information about your business is we've already got the audience. There's probably a slight assumption that people coming to biggerplate.com already know about mind mapping, and it just isn't true. We get huge numbers of emails and inquiries from people saying, I don't understand, what's the difference between a MindJet map and an iMindMap? What software do I need? How do I learn the basics? So there's a lot of people who don't know much. So actually, this is a great place to be visible. So this is, I think, pretty much all I wanted to show you. Again, just quickly show how easy it is to edit and update information. And as I said, this is live on the site right now. So what I'm hoping is some of you might go back from today and think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm going to try and create a profile for myself. You might find that when you do it immediately, something breaks, by the way. That happens. Please tell us. If we don't know about it, we can't fix it. So that's all I wanted to say on the trainer directory. The key points are high visibility to a very targeted audience. If you want visibility to people who are interested in mind mapping, I don't think there's a better place to do it than our website. I think I'm allowed to say that now. The second thing is direct lead generation, giving you opportunities to hopefully generate business straight from the website without having to have people come to another website and go through another Twitter account. We're just trying to make it one step easier. So that's that. The second piece, Mapyo.com. Has anybody here ever heard of Mapyo.com? That's still good, okay. Not yet, yeah, not yet. So Mapyo was actually founded in 2007, and it actually launched, very annoyingly, about 3 months before Biggerplate. And we went, oh, that's quite annoying. They say that anytime you have an idea in your head, there's someone else, somewhere else in the world doing the same thing. So it proved to be. Mapyo was founded in 2007, and essentially was a very similar idea to Biggerplate, just not done quite as well. Mapyo could host, I think, old versions of Mind Manager, free mind maps, and some hand-drawn maps. And it attracted a lot of traffic. It's good that so many of you have seen it or heard of it. It sort of indicates that it is still sort of visible and relevant. We don't think that hand-drawn maps and software maps should be shown alongside each other. That's just our belief. Others may disagree. I'm quite happy with that. I think they are viewed and used differently as content. Now, I don't think one is more valuable than the other, and that's a common thing that people assume, that we're really software-centric. We think hand-drawn mapping's nothing. Not true. We just haven't had an answer. So in London and in Paris, we were given quite a hard time around this, and anyone who was there would say there was some pretty strong questioning of why have you still not come up with an answer. We came up with an answer this year. After London, we bought Mapyo. We are going to build Mapyo into a dedicated gallery for hand-drawn mind maps and hand-drawn mind mappers. That doesn't work. People who do hand-drawn maps. We think this is a far better solution than trying to crowbar it into a site that's designed for software maps. Software is going to, and you've got some great software guys in here, the software mapping world is going to continue to do this in terms of how it evolves. Mind mapping on pen and paper is largely going to stay pretty similar. So for Biggerplate to be able to keep track with the software world and house hand-drawn maps, I just didn't think would work. So we've acquired Mapyo in April this year rather. And we have sort of just been keeping an eye on it, seeing how people behave and making our plans. The plans, doing all right, the plans are pretty major. And this is quite a big undertaking for, as I say, a team of 4 people, only one of whom can actually build websites. So the project is, as I say, a dedicated gallery for hand-drawn mind maps. There's a lot to do. If you go on Mapio today, you will see it's not nearly as nice as Biggerplate. And we take a lot of pride in that. But at the same time, it means we've got a lot of work to do. So what we're going to do is create a simplified version of Biggerplate. Because we're not trying to handle different software formats and explain what formats work and all of these sort of things, we can just rip out a load of stuff that's irrelevant and hopefully create something really nice, clean and clear for hand-drawn mappers. Importantly, what we want to get to is also a point where you could log in to Mapio or Biggerplate using one account. We don't want you to have to register for Mapio to be able to do it. We want to create one big connected community, but we think they need slightly different areas. So hopefully that means next time we come to Utrecht, or even sooner, you'll be able to say, okay, I'm going to do some hand-drawn maps. I mark it down here, take a photo on my iPhone, and chuck it up on Mapio. You could actually do that today. It won't handle it very well, though. So that's really what I wanted to show you today, and I hope you'd agree that there's 2 quite exciting things there. I'm delighted with how many people there are in training, and I really hope you'll dig into this and help us to keep evolving and developing it, because I think it's a really exciting piece. And the Mapio library, or gallery I tend to think of it more as, is going to be a really good addition and help us hopefully on that arena to industry journey. So that's all from me, and I'm going to hand over first to my friend Hans, who also in collaboration with my other friend John at the back there, are actually going to act as your hosts today. John and Hans have been amazing in helping me put this together. Every time we've done an event, we've tried to pull together local people to help us sort of shape it for the local mapping community. And these guys have helped a huge amount, so I have to say thank you for that straight away. But they're going to be hosting today, so you don't have to listen to me all day. I'm hoping some of you might have some questions around this, and you'll see in your agenda there is a dedicated time slot later for some Biggerplate Q&A. And that's not me being egotistical. That again was some feedback we had in London and Paris, was people want to ask some questions and learn a little bit more. So I'm going to stop talking and hand over to Hans, who is then going to introduce our first speaker. So it just remains for me to say thank you all so much for coming. I really hope you enjoyed today, and I hope I'll get to meet and speak with as many of you as possible. Thank you very much.